Hi, it's Tim Byrne, Almost Live. It's another Wednesday night, and I'm with Nikki again. She interviewed me. If you didn't see last week's, you should probably watch that first before you watch this week's. I just couldn't shut up. You see the necklace I'm wearing? I wear this in every show. I wear this all the time. I never take it off. It's my son's ashes. When he passed away, when I had him cremated, I put a little bit of him inside here for everybody in my family, all my girls, so they could all wear him all the time. I love you, buddy. I miss you. I don't know why I told you that. You can catch me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I always post these podcasts on LinkedIn, so you can always join me there. Give me a thumbs up. Keep watching the show. I really need you to watch the show and pass around the link. I do the show for property managers and construction people all over North America. Chris Blunt, Filtrex, you're a good guy. Steady Door and Glass, like I always say, you're rock stars. You guys got your shit together. And Byrne on Demand Handyman, my daughter's company. She's killing it all the time. Works her brains out in that office every morning at 7 a.m. and doesn't leave till 7 p.m. I'm Tim Byrne. This is Tim Byrne Almost Live. I'm almost dead. Boy, I got a wicked cold. Check out these wrinkles, eh? All right, I'm going to go get some Botox. You watch the show. Watch the first one first, and then watch the second one. And I'll see you on the backside, okay? Bye. We're all on a journey, and we all get dealt cards. And I'm going to let everybody know that I probably, if whether people want to see it or not, because people often today, even today, before I tell my story, people will say to me, "Man, you're really lucky."
I hate that.
I love that, right? So I love that, right? Because it makes you see, you go, okay, fuck you. So right, so they go, "Wow, you're really lucky." I still today have people go, I wish I had your life. I wish I was you. I wish I could do this. Okay, so I'm going to tell you that I was dealt cards and they were really shit. Mm-hmm. In life, everybody's dealt God goes, and you pick them up and you go, oh, fuck. Oh my God, they're bad. The problem is you still have to play them. Mm. And you can either decide to fold and say, fuck it, I'm going to be a disaster for the rest of my life. Or you can go, I can still win this hand. And sometimes you're right. You got to fake it till you make it. I got that. Mm-hmm. Listen, I've been divorced twice. I was a single dad for a long time. I cheated on my wife. My business has almost gone bankrupt at least 3 times. My son was killed. And I still have people walk up to me today and go, wow, I wish I was you. You're like, you're a fucking retard. You don't want to be me.
What keeps you going, though? Where do you get that?
You go, fuck that. What are you, crazy? You don't want to be me. Okay, but what they don't see, and here's the shame, is that people say that to you because you've got all these chips stacked up here. Yeah. What they don't realize is you got a dummy hand. Because they can't see. I can't see your I can't see your cards. I can't see yours. I can't see yours. I can only see mine.
Yeah.
So, but I can look over and you're smiling and you've got a nice cocktail in your hand and you got a bunch of chips stacked around you and you're wearing a nice jacket and wow, I really want to be you. And meanwhile, if you could do this and go, oh wow, your cards, eh?
Look under the hood.
My God, your cards are shit, right? Right? Yeah. The old expression says, "Walk a mile in my shoes."
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the grass is always greener. Mm-hmm. Always going to be greener on the other side. Mm-hmm. I only wish I could be Warren Buffett. That grass is always greener, and I think over the course of time, and I'm not sure if it's age. I'm not sure if it's just what shit you've gone through in your life, but there's a certain point where you go, my grass is great and I don't need to have anybody else's grass and I don't need to go anywhere else. I tell my staff all the time today, especially since my son died, I learned a lot. I tell my staff today that, hey, I'm not responsible for your happiness, you are. By the way, I'm responsible for my own happiness too. I tell my staff if they're not happy working here, they should quit. And everybody has, you want me to quit? Oh, stop. This isn't about me wanting you to quit. This is about me wanting you to be happy. Yeah. And the problem is I'm not in control of that. You are. Mm-hmm. So, listen, my staff all get spooked out about this. I'm okay if they walked up to me and said, I need to quit. I'm not happy here.
You can respect that.
Not just respect it. I love that. I mean, listen, and then I go, let me help you find a place that you will be happy. Because here's the thing. If I help you find a job, not in my building, but in somebody else's, you are going to produce twice as much. You're going to be twice as successful the minute you're happy. And so just because you're not producing here and you're not happy here doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Sure. Yeah.
And here's the kicker. That person on that other side, when you go, you're responsible for your happiness. Our society today, and I refer to this a lot in the show, is a blue ribbon society.
I'm not a socialist, don't worry.
We have, and I hate saying back in my day, but we're a blue ribbon society, and the challenge is that you're allowed to pass grade 2 even if you're a retard. Mm-hmm. You don't even place in the track and field meet and you get a blue ribbon. Mm-hmm. You play baseball now and you're not allowed to lose. And I talk about Wayne Gretzky a lot because Wayne Gretzky said, I missed the net more than I got it in the net. Mm-hmm. And if every time he missed the net, he got a blue ribbon, he would have never learned how to get it in the net.
Sure.
That was the quintessential problem with the Ontario government giving a minimum wage increase. Giving money without merit. Mm-hmm. And so here's what I've said to everybody, because some people argue with me and say that minimum wage thing was important, take people out of poverty, blah, 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 real socialistic spirit. And I say to them outright, do you have kids? And they go, yeah. And they go, if your kid walked up to you and said, Mom, I want my allowance to go from $8 to $10. You as mom, would you go, absolutely, you deserve more? Or do you go, no, actually, I tell you what, I like that idea, but I need you to take the garbage out and sweep the driveway every week and shovel it. And if you do those 2-3 extra little chores, I'll raise your allowance from $8 to $10. Mm-hmm. And they go, yeah, I wouldn't give my kid an increase in their pay just for the sake of it. They'd have to do something. They have to earn that raise. Mm-hmm. Okay, so looking at the government in a parental light, they just literally gave all the kids
who weren't entitled to be
an increase in their allowance without any merit.
Yeah.
Which perpetuated the blue ribbon society that we've become. So forget about the what you can see. Let's talk about what you can't see. Is that there's a moment when you're struggling and you're not making as much as your staff. Mm-hmm. Where you know you need to fight to make more. And what comes out of that fight is innovation and critical thinking. So when the kid loses the soccer game mm-hmm. and the coach goes, we lost, and we're going to figure out how to win next week. That just gave me goosebumps even saying that, right? We lost, but we're going to win next week. The loss creates critical thinking and innovation.
Yep.
No longer does the one kid run up the field with the ball on his own, only have it kicked out of his thing. He goes, no, I'm going to pass this to Bob and Frank and Joe, and then we're going to make a play, and this is how it's going to work so we can bypass their tough defense. The minute you go, no matter what, you're going to get a blue ribbon if you lose. There's no reason for anybody to critically think or be innovative.
They've done studies, too, that leads to depression because people want to earn what they're given. They don't want to just be handed something. When it comes to team sports and that sort of thing, because then it's like, what's the point?
My biggest successes are my failures. And everybody goes, that's a really awkward sentence, but my biggest successes are my failures. I've learned the most when I fucked up. I didn't learn anything when I made it. I didn't learn a thing. You know, I'm remarried now 3 years, and I'm a much better husband than I've ever had been in my life. I understand the dynamic of a relationship. I'm not narcissistic. I stopped and stared at myself in a mirror and put my ego in check. And I think you got to listen. Sorry to my ex-wife Kelly, but you got to fuck up sometimes. Mm-hmm. You hope that the people around you. I can make myself cry here. I hope the people around you forgive you, because you're human and you fuck up. Mm-hmm. And I think what everybody forgets is when people fuck up, whether it's in a marriage or whether it's in a job. I've had staff. My daughter Catherine fucked over Red Lobster last year for about $25,000, and we lost a lot of money, and they hate our guts. And that guy won't talk to us anymore. And we made good, right? Mm-hmm. But he never forgave us.
Okay.
And I think when you have those moments when people don't forgive, Ironically, for Red Lobster, Byrne on Demand would have been a better trade the second time around. What you don't realize is the guy that fucks up the hardest in your company and knows he did.
Yeah.
Didn't just get, here's your bonus check because I know you failed. No, you failed. You made a mistake. Did you learn? We're not going to, right? You push that envelope. Man, when they come at it the second time, Alex Byrne, when you come at the podcast the second time, you come at it with 100 miles an hour and you can do it 24 hours around the clock, 7 days a week until you get the fucking thing right because the first time you fucked up and you failed. And that's the energy you get from failure.
Yeah.
And yeah, you were really pissed off last year when I said, you're not doing this anymore. You're making a mockery out of it and it's turning into a disaster. And then 6 months later, you're like, all right, you want to try again? And you're like, yeah, I do. And fuck, you came out of it like 100 miles an hour. It's the failure that created the success. If you just succeeded without knowing why you succeeded, you didn't gain anything from the experience. Winning sucks. You got to lose.
Makes you complacent.
Oh,
right?
Totally.
Yeah.
The only time my companies have taken a step backwards is when I thought we were great.
Wow.
That's awful, right? So, woo, top of the game. Oh, man.
Celebrate, but not too long.
Right, right. Celebrate and know that tomorrow is a new game.
Yeah.
Right? You're allowed to high five at the end of the day, but that doesn't mean it's over. Because you're right, complacency sets in quick.
Absolutely.
Which then comes ego and narcissism and sitting back in your laurels and all the cliches that you can possibly imagine spring into your head when you have success, right? So you actually, they said that Wayne Gretzky through his career would always be on the ice first.
Wow.
Always. Yeah, because he knew he couldn't let himself slip. And so when you so I'll tell you, I'm 51 years old. 30 years later, I probably work harder today than I worked 20 years ago. Because I know that my success is a gift that I created.
Yeah.
And it's a gift I can destroy in a heartbeat, right? I can melt it down real fast by allowing myself to think that I'm God's gift, and I'm not. I'm just a simple guy, and I'm going to screw up again and again and again, and I got to get up the next morning and pound at it. And I think that entrepreneurs go through all these weird things, and if you don't have that self-awareness, if you don't understand positive and negative energy, if you don't understand that you need a mentor and you can't find it, but it's got to come to you. So part of that is also being able to turn on all those sixth sense to invite good people around you. Actually, even invite anybody that you need at the time, good or bad. Because sometimes we need a bad person to come in our lives so that we can recognize the good.
Okay.
Having all good people in your life only puts you in a position, again, of failure because you become complacent because everything's good around you. So you actually need the odd retard to show up so that, hey, there's a retard at the party. But that person puts everything in perspective for you when they hurt you, when they dispense negative energy on you. It only allows you to go, I got to rethink this, where if everybody around you is positive. So when I mean you got to open the door to attract people, I think you have to be prepared to attract everybody and then know which ones to push forward, push back, know what you need, when you need it. But these are really complicated things to do because in between all that, I still got to turn over revenue, make customers happy, figure out how to invoice my bills, pay the receiver general, get the HST done, make sure WSIB is paid, make sure the employees get their paycheck. And then between all that, I got to figure out my positive and negative energy and bring in people and make sure that I'm balanced with inside my life and there's life balance and enough time for my kids and the dogs and the spouse and the time for me, to make sure that I'm happy along that way. And it's a real balancing act. And I think when you're younger, you have a tougher time understanding all your silos. You have a tougher time reading your cards. You got 7 cards in your hand. You have a really tough time reading them. It's a blur because everybody's putting bets in. Especially when you start out new and you're young in your career, Alex, everybody looks like they're moving faster than you. By the way, no matter what, no matter where you start, whether it's your boyfriend who's a pilot who's really advanced his career, everybody around him looks like they're moving faster than him. He wants to move faster because it becomes a blur holding those cards. And the drag is you can't flip down their cards and look at them, right? So you just see all these successes around you and people being happy. And you're like, what? I need to be farther. I spent too much time in school or too little in school or I don't know enough. And why aren't I moving faster? I should have gotten a raise. Why haven't I done this? I should open my own. And you need to stop and just separate your cards out and really get a feel for them and really understand. And these are all really complicated things to do. And you're right. So when you and for you to put it to paper makes it even harder because how do you manage each chapter and go, Okay, so be happy, right? Don't be too happy.
Ease up on the happiness.
Slow down on the happiness. You're too happy. I'm really happy. Now I'm negative. Don't be negative. Be happy, right? How do I recognize a mentor? Because they're coming into my in and on my life naturally, and I can't just go, it's time for a mentor. I shall look for a mentor. I shall put it on Indeed, and I shall find a mentor. It isn't like that. So you have to have all these sensories available to you to pick and choose where, who, why. And it's so complicated that to sit and talk about like this is kind of fun, but to put it on paper or to describe it to a whole bunch of people, which ironically we're doing, for majority of people that are listening, I went over their head about 20 minutes ago and they think I'm a raving loon.
Come on.
Because it's so psychologically, philosophically difficult to rationalize all the concepts I talked about and to put them all in your hand. So not only do you have all these cards, now I got a book that I'm trying to read and I'm holding my cards. It's just a lot for people to understand. So usually what you have to do is you have to go... people like to break things into chronological order. It's like when they say, grade school, high school, university, master's degree. They want to box it. Everything's got to be in a box and have a label because that's an easier pill for people to swallow. So with entrepreneurs, though, you get all the boxes and you cram them all inside one box, right? Put them all in, and then you're staring. There's so many boxes, right? It used to be I went to grade school, and then I went to high school, and then I went to university, and then I got a job, and then I got married, and as an entrepreneur, you're just cramming sales, HR, taxes, brand, psychology, your brain, all of it stuffed in a box. Mm-hmm. And every day when you open it, one thing pops up, and you're like, and it's really hard to manage all that for people. I don't think it's easy, and I don't think it's why 80% of the population works for somebody. It's why people work for somebody. It's because it's really hard to do all that.
Yeah. And it sounds like you've spent a lot of time working on yourself, right?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
And self-awareness. Yep. When we first spoke, when I was asking about mindset and thinking about, did you always see it to be a big company? And you went in right from the beginning, right? So did that...
That is the only question she's asked.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
This is great. I haven't even had to look down. No, it's fantastic. So when we first talked, you were already there with your mindset, because I know a lot of people, that's like a huge hurdle.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a huge hurdle, right? Is to be able to think that much bigger.
Sure.
How important have your social circles and people who share the same mindset played a role in your success?
So this is where narcissism and ego and all that stuff gets involved, right? Mm-hmm. For you to succeed, you have to hang around people that are better than you, which is really shitty.
Especially why?
Because it makes it sound like you're using people.
Oh, see, I didn't feel that at all when you said that.
I think that when you hang around a bunch of posties, postal workers, mm-hmm. you have the mentality of a postal worker. I think when you hang around a bunch of entrepreneurs, you end up having an entrepreneurial mentality. When you hang around a bunch of Black Lives Matters people, you end up getting chips on your shoulder. When you hang around the Liberal government and Kathleen Wynne, you think everybody should get a raise, and you preach it like this is the new church of Kathleen Wynne. This is the new church of Black. You become whatever you're surrounded by. So. You need to make a conscious choice. And here's the other problem too. So you need to make a conscious choice you're hanging around with. And you need to make a conscious choice to hang around people that are at par or higher than you. Mm-hmm. And not to say that, listen, my friend Jamie Mitchell and I are friends. So my social development, I always knew that he, on a philosophical level, was a much better man than his drug addiction. That's why I allowed him to stay in my life. Mm-hmm. I have lots of people that have been in my life that have had alcohol addictions, drug addictions, and I've washed them away. They weren't good for me to be part of me. Those moments that Jamie was sober. And by the way, Jamie's okay. I would not say anything on this podcast about Jamie unless I could say it to his face.
Yeah.
Jamie, in his high state, stoned out of his gore, on a philosophical level, on a spiritual level, there was a bone inside that body that was good. I could see it. I could smell it. It was just buried through addiction, So I always allowed him to come back in my life. So it doesn't mean hanging around people of the same caliber as you is directly related to their paycheck and the car they're driving.
I see. Same mentality, same mindset.
Yeah, not just paycheck. Yes. Not just paycheck, but you do. So, if I was to be broad spectrum, you go, typically people with the same paycheck are easier to hang around with than people that aren't. And only because that's just the social norms, not... It's like those people I hang around with after we went in their boat. They all made good money and they all decided they were all philanthropists all of a sudden and wanted to give away their paychecks because it didn't perform happiness. But you end up hanging around people that are like-minded.
Yeah. Have you consciously cut out people then? Yeah. Where you're like, we just don't. I can't do the post.
Sometimes you cut people out because you just don't have room.
Right.
I was at and I'm not going to use a friend's name. I was at a friend's office. And inside that office, he had somebody working for him that was an ex-high school friend. And he walked up, and I'm going to use his name, John. It wasn't John, but John walks up and goes, "Oh my God, Tim Byrne, blah, blah, blah. Oh, John, how are you? Good. And we're talking, well, my friend who owns the business is coming out to have lunch with me, not knowing that John and I were friends from high school. And John says, we should have lunch sometime. And I said, she knows this. We're never going to have lunch, John.
Savage.
His eyes went bald. I said, John, we're in totally different social circles, and my world is full.
Okay, so you talked about your sales team and prepping them when they run into situations. Somebody's grumpy, they hang up on them, they yell at them, whatever. How has, twofold actually. I want to chat about, as you were growing the business and scaling up, what your hiring strategy looked like, meaning that did you hire in reaction mode or proactively to where you saw the company going? And then how have you developed as a leader?
I think remember, you got to go, businesses are infant, child, adolescent, adult, and even old age, right? Because the Eaton's family just went extinct.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it boiled down to. So, and I think at each one of those phases of your life, you do things a little differently. It's just not the same. So as an infant company, less than 5 years of age, I think you just reactionary hire. You would never hire in anticipation. You don't have the money. It just scares you to death to have your payroll go up. And the guy or girl you want to hire is going to make 10 grand more a year than you. So if I can do it myself this weekend, I'm not going to hire that guy. And only until I'm about to implode and my negative energy is melting me down to the core do I hire somebody. I remember when I was 23 or 4, Penny and I broke up. That was my girlfriend / wife at the time, who had 2 kids, and then we broke up. And I had responsibility for my 2 kids. And I literally had neglected to take care of me and was working 100 hours a week. And that's another reason why at 24, my relationship didn't work anyway. Oh, because we were doing 24-hour service. So we were going out in the middle of the night, right? And I literally became responsible for my kids, greater than 50% of the time, so that she doesn't text in here and scream at me. I went out and hired a personal assistant to do everything from get my dry cleaning to my groceries. I really didn't care. Everything that didn't make me money, I wanted to get rid of. Because I had 2 kids that needed me home to make Kraft macaroni and cheese and hot dogs for the 3rd time that week. And I hired them resenting it because it was money I didn't want to spend to have somebody get my dry cleaning and type out my quotes on Excel or Word or whatever it was at the time. Within 1 year of hiring that person, the business doubled.
Boom, doing it. Wow.
A lot of my entrepreneurial friends, they go, "What should be my first hire?" What? I'm going to tell you, as an entrepreneur, new, you're 3 years into it, you're overwhelmed. Get rid of the dry cleaning. Get rid of buying yourself coffee. Get rid of getting sandwiches. Get rid of typing anything. Get rid of reading your email. Get rid of everything that does not make you revenue now. And you're a 5-year-old company and you're starving, and you're going to find yourself having all this free time, not just to do your business, but to take care of your family. Which then gives you life balance, which then makes you happy, which then allows you to have some balance between positive and negative energy and allows you to perform at a higher rate.
Love it.
Because you got to, as an entrepreneur, you're always performing at 100%. The problem is it's when you need to perform at 140, you can't do that very long. It's not sustainable, right? It's just not. The entrepreneurs that have the ability to go for 140% endurance-wise are probably more likely to succeed than the ones that max out at 100. And this is, again, why 80% of the population works for somebody, because that first 5 years, you're running at 130%. And then everybody goes, well, I run 130% all the time. When you're knee-deep in entrepreneurship and you're not making any money, and at 2 o'clock in the morning after the kid woke up because he had a poopy diaper, you decide to open your laptop and type up quotes for people for an hour and a half because you need to get ahead of it because you know 6 a.m. is coming really quick and they're going to be up again and they're going to want Cheerios and blah, blah, blah. That's running 140%.
Yeah.
And there are people that can do it I know I personally can go now at far, and I don't want to exaggerate it, far more than most of the people around me. I am an endurance machine. At 51 years of age, there's not very many people that, Alex is nodding, there's not very many people that can keep up with me.
Wow.
But you get stamina for it, right? I mean, you just build stamina for it.
But you also have that balance that you recognize when you've gone too far.
Totally.
And then you step back.
Sometimes, and you need to, even when you know you've gone too far and you have to stay out there, you just need to know that you're there and this is not sustainable. So you need to know when to, it's being self-aware along that ride, right? So in those first 4 years, I only hired because I needed to. I didn't hire because I wanted to. Even my personal assistant, I hired them out of a panic mode. And it literally changed my entire business. Here's the problem with hiring somebody like that, though, for everybody that's listening, when you go to hire that person, this doesn't mean you get to sit back in your chair and put your feet up.
No.
This means you get to reallocate your energy to something that makes a better ROI rather than going to paper dry cleaning or rather than calling your appointment while you're driving downtown to confirm that they're going to be there when you get there.
Right.
Some people, because of course when you're in the, so I would tell somebody to hire their personal assistant before the 5th year. Don't hire them between the 6th and the 10th.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Why?
Because that's when your ego's out of control. And that's when you put your feet up on your desk and you go, I'm done, and let them do it. And, you become egocentric and it perpetuates your narcissistic behaviors.
Okay.
So I would, you pass that 10-year mark. Okay, do it. So you're either going to do it before 5 or after 10. Because once you make it past after 10, you're humble again. And you've crossed that threshold of being burnt out. Overspending, underspending, life balance. You got the line of credit under control. You're in a safer place at the 11th year, so go hire somebody. Under 5, it's just a catalyst to get you under control. In between 5 and 10, it's a problem because you're dying to be successful. So you're hiring that person to make you successful, not because you are.
Makes sense.
Which gives you a false sense of security because now this person's getting your coffee for you.
Yeah. Right.
And by the way, for everybody out there, don't be ashamed about having somebody go get you coffee. My time's much better on my computer than getting coffee. Yeah. It's not egocentric to ask somebody to get you coffee so you can stay focused on what you're doing. It is if you're going to sit there with your feet up and not perform. Yeah. Okay, now that person now is just perpetuating you into idiocy.
Right.
In comparison to you grinding harder while they get you coffee. You're grinding harder while they're getting your sandwich. It's not wrong.
That makes sense.
Right? Hi, it's Tim Byrne. This is Tim Byrne Almost Live. Nikki, you're a rock star. Thanks a lot for interviewing me. I think there's going to be a third part. There was we actually recorded for almost 2 hours. Now, I want to let you know, and I'm really sorry, I won't be at Springfest. They wouldn't allow Kevin the Goat to come to the show. And with that, I couldn't go to the show. How could Tim Byrne Almost Live go to the show without Kevin the Goat? We will be doing the Remy show with Media Edge, and we are their official podcaster in June. We are doing the Prism show, not the Prison show, PRSM, Google it. And we are down there in Denver recording the whole time on the show floor. And we're going to post those interviews at Remy and Springfest and Prism for the next 12 weeks. If you are an entrepreneur, you're starting a new business, feel free to contact me at 416-984-9045. Stick your head above that foxhole, because you just won't become a hero unless you take a few risks in life. Check me out on YouTube, Google Music, iTunes, Spotify, Instagram, and of course you can find me on LinkedIn. Tim Byrne, Byrne. I'll see you next week, okay?